another amazing episode of Future Jobs podcast show. I'm your host Fahad JobsWala, and I'm a student and interview captain at Mehsum School on an academy. So welcome back with another amazing episode of Future Jobs podcast, where we deep dive into amazing life of extraordinary individuals. We try to bring their life challenges because as we believe in lifelong learning, people have their different kind of ways to learn, to educate themselves. Mostly people prefer to educate themselves from books, but to learn from others life challenges, to learn from others life, it's very I would say very helpful. So saying that, today we have a very special guest, Mr. Mehsum Sayyani. He born and raised in Pakistan, then moved to the Singapore, and now living there, since last 10 years. So welcome to the to the show. We are gonna explore his professional and personal life journeys. Today we have the privilege of speaking with Mehsum Sayyani, a seasoned leader with over 2 decades of transformative experience at Standard Chartered Bank. Currently, he is a co-founder and CEO of Propellus, a Singapore-based startup aiming to revolutionize global mobility by simplifying visa processes. Propellus leverages technology to empower travelers with seamless global access, regardless of passport strength. In this episode, we'll dive into Mehsum's journey. So, Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Mehsum. How are you? And welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum assalam, Fahad, and thank you so much. I'm deeply honored to be on the show.
It's my pleasure, sir. So, before getting deep into your life, could you tell us about your story, how your career began, and all that?
Sure. So I am originally from Pakistan, Karachi. I did my master's from a university called IBA. After my university, I joined Standard Chartered Bank as a management trainee. I was lucky enough to be part of their graduate program. And from there, I spent 22 years in the bank. The first, 11 to 12 years in Pakistan, and then they moved me to Singapore, and I've been there for the last 10 years. Any possible role that you can think of in Standard Chartered Bank on the retail banking side, I've done that, starting from branch banking, credit cards, operations, treasury, even building branches, even training and development, recovery and collections on the risk side, and even managing a global governance of cards, and even doing cybersecurity. So I've done all of that in the last 22 years. I'll take a quick pause, see if you have any questions.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Your career is also, and the name of your organization, Propellus. So could you tell us more about your company, how you started this, and what is it about?
Yeah. So, as you know, I was very happy doing a wonderful job as a banker, settled here, making a lot of money. The big question, which you rightly asked, what led me to start this company? And there's a story behind it, and I'll share that story with you guys. So a few years ago, because we have all boys, we have 4 boys, four sons. They all wanted to go watch Manchester United, football match, and they're all soccer fans. I'm not a big soccer fan, but me and my wife decided, let's take them to the UK, and we did all the visas and everything. Two of our sons have Singaporean passport, one has a US passport, and the younger one has a Pakistani passport, and I have a Pakistani passport. My wife has a Singaporean passport, so we have a mixed bag of passports. But anyway, a long story short, we did the visas for me and my youngest son. We traveled, and while we were on our way, uh, we were told that my youngest son's passport had an error. A 6 was an 8, which was so small that we couldn't see it through the eyes of, normal eyes. And the guy had to show me from a magnifying glass. And I said, okay, under the magnifying glass, there's a mistake. Now, what do we do? Fahad, we were not allowed to travel. We were in Dubai, and then from Dubai, we couldn't even go back to Singapore because that was COVID time and you needed 4 days prior approval. So we had to go back to Pakistan. Our entire holiday was ruined, the trip was ruined. After I got back, I started asking myself that how is it possible that in this day and age, when people are trying to go to Mars, and we have AI and robotics and all of that, we have not been able to solve a problem like visa processing. When I look at my wife's passport, she has the strongest passport in the world. 193 countries visa free. I have a Pakistani passport, 33 countries. Why is there a difference? I started asking myself. And I started asking myself, is anybody in the world trying to solve this problem? The answer was, I couldn't find anybody. So I said, why not me? That's how it started. And the way I think about this is, because I've been a banker, today in Singapore, I can issue you or anybody a credit card or a loan in 5 minutes. How? We have your data and documents stored in one place, it's connected to the bank. The bank shows you an eligibility criteria, whether you're eligible for this loan or card. And if you are eligible, you press a button, you pay a price, and you get the card or a loan in 5 minutes. So I started asking myself, if you can issue a loan or a card in 5 minutes, why is it possible? Why is it not possible to issue a visa in this? Why do they keep asking us to make fill out forms, visa application that takes weeks and weeks and weeks? That is how it started. So that long story short, that's how the whole idea started. Now the company is called Propel Us. Who are the us? Us are the weak passport holders. Half of the population of the world comes from weak passports. There are 300 million visas that are processed on an annual basis. It's a $10 billion market. And when I started going deeper and deeper, I realized this is a huge problem in the world and somebody should be solving it. Couldn't find anyone. And I said, you know what? Why shouldn't I? Yeah, that's how the story is.
Wonderful. Your story of your career is that wonderful that I just lost myself in your story, and I was just imagining the whole you know view of that of your story. So that is really wonderful how your career, your professional career started. And like I've interviewed many people, but couldn't find that interesting story. So that is wonderful. What inspired you to transition from a 2 decade career in banking to funding a travel tech startup?
Yeah, so I think one was the problem, right? I actually got obsessed. I was like, how is this possible that this is not solved? So that's number one. Number two, I mentioned that I did my first MBA, back in Pakistan in Karachi. And in 2017 and 18, while I was here in Singapore, I went and did another degree, another executive MBA, because I always wanted, to get some global education as well, a global degree as well. And because I was exposed to Singapore, and NCAD is one of the top business schools who major in entrepreneurship. So I thought I had during that degree, a seed was planted in my mind that I want to be able to build something which is purposeful, which is meaningful, which solves a problem. I just didn't know what. So after my second MBA, I went back to doing a job, but even in the bank, I think of myself as a entrepreneur, which is an entrepreneur inside the bank. And the minute I figured out this problem and I realized the meaning of this problem, which is it has a purpose behind it. Half of the population in the world struggles with visa processing, and I'm like, how wonderful would it be if me and my company is able to solve that problem, right? And I'll talk a little bit about how I think about this problem and how I approach it as a banker, and how I feel that banks have solved it and governments are still way behind, and I'm happy to build that company to be able to solve that. But yeah, I hope that helps.
Exactly. Like that is wonderful. You already told the main story about how your journey, how your career began, and that is the another one. So I'm very like if we all people stand up, if we would all stand up, and if we start probleming these all, you know, solving all these kind of problems, we have many problems in our world. Most of the problems are small problems. They look small, but they aren't really. But if we work on them, like as Mr. Mehsum did, our world will be free of problems. We will couldn't find such problems, and so like that is the thing. We have to stand up and we have to help to make this world a better place. So I'm very curious, Mr. Mehsam, you as I got connected with you by Sir Rehan. So how you both of them, how you both met with each other, and what is that story?
So we've actually never met. I heard about Rehan's school through LinkedIn, through social media, and I started following Rehan's journey. And I think I started commenting about him doing a wonderful job, and all of you are very inspiring. I actually think that all of the work that Fahad, you're doing, and the other kids also that you guys are doing, it's very, very inspirational. And one day I got a message from Rehan, on LinkedIn, and he told me that, what I was doing or what I was trying to do with my company is commendable. And I wrote back to him and I said, Rehan, thank you for saying that. I'm a big fan of yours. And he wrote back and he said, you know what, I'm a big fan of yours as well. So I'm like, fantastic. And then he said, by the way, I have, some kids in my school who'd love to have a conversation with you. And I'm like, absolutely, I'm open to any sort of conversation that helps anybody, because I feel that what I am trying to do, or with my company, or Propellus is trying to do, it's not a one company, one man job. This is a movement that we have. I feel that what Propellus is trying to actually create is an ecosystem where it's not about we're building a company to solve a visa problem. We are actually trying to create a whole ecosystem. And the way I explain this to people is that we are building the next Amazon for travel visas. What that means is the platform that enables travelers, that enables travel agents, that enables visa agents, that enables governments and other parties to be able to solve this problem. So we're not a visa company. We are a company that is enabling. We are a company that's the technology. We're the company that is going to make sure and help solve this problem. It's going to be a very, very long and hard journey. It's not going to be done in a year or 2 years. It's going to take time.
Wonderful, wonderful. You're creating a motivation for other people as well. Like maybe you're alone in this field, as you mentioned about that, and nobody did that before. So like if all other people would stand up as well, like you, and if they work on this, so it will be more easier.
Absolutely. And as we've started this journey a couple of years, we can see that there are other people, other players also, who are doing similar things. And I actually don't even look at them as competition. I look at them as, co-creators of solving this problem. And this, like I said, half of the population of the world faces this problem. It's so big that not one company can resolve that. So I think we need a lot more people to come into this ecosystem and work together to solve it. And we have gotten such encouraging response from people who want a platform like this. There are travel agencies that are willing to use this as a platform. There are hundreds of people who've reached out to me directly, who are saying we would love to help, we would love to participate. It is super encouraging. In fact, even governments have reached out to me, and the Thai government invited me in January to come and present, and I did a post on that as well on LinkedIn. You can, if anybody's interested. I even met with the Pakistani ambassador in UAE about 2 weeks ago, and we talked about how we can even help people who want to come into Pakistan, and how we can streamline those, visa processing as well. So there is so much that all of us can do together to help solve this problem.
Wonderful. I'm very happy that people are reaching out to you, and they have, like, you already spread the awareness, to them, so they're willing to take action. It's really wonderful. So how did you recognize visa inequality as a significant issue, and what motivated you to address it through Propellus?
Yeah. So I mean, when I told you the personal incident that happened that led me to go deeper to really understand, and then when I realized, how big the problem is, from a global perspective, and then when I saw my own wife and my passport, I recognize that, in fact, let me tell you a story. I think that'll help your listeners also understand. So, whenever there is a long holiday in Singapore, right? And this is something that always happens. My wife comes to me and says, "Oh, Mehsum, 3-4 दिन की छुट्टी आ रही है, चलो कहीं चलते हैं घूमने." तो she'll say, "यार Mehsum, बाली चलते हैं." Bali is like 2 hours away from Singapore. एंड वो कहती है मुझे, "ओह, बड़ी अच्छी डील आई है फ्लाइट की और होटल की, या थाईलैंड चले चलते हैं." तो मैंने ये रियलाइज किया कि she and half of the other population of the world that comes from strong passports, they only think of flights and hotels. But people like me, who still have Pakistani passports, and half of the other population of the world that comes from the weak passports, we don't think like that. We think, oh my God, what are the visa requirements? Oh, फॉर्म भरना है कि नहीं, एम्बेसी जाना है कि नहीं, कितनी फीस लगेगी, कितने दिन में वीजा लगेगा, हम यहाँ से सोचते हैं. So when we so what I started to realize, that the journey, which is a buyer's journey, or is very, very different from a weak passport and to the strong passport. And I started asking this question: how is it possible that किसी ने ये difference अभी तक देखा नहीं है? So I'm like, okay, let me go and find the big guys in the world who look at travel. तो मैंने जाके booking.com को देखना शुरू किया, kayak को देखना शुरू किया, जितनी भी बड़ी ग्लोबल ट्रैवल कंपनीज है ना जिनको लोग यूज करते हैं, स्काई स्कैनर, मैंने उनके ओनर्स को देखना शुरू किया. जब मैंने देखा तो वो ज्यादातर स्ट्रॉन्ग पासपोर्ट होल्डर्स हैं, लाइक गोरे हैं, फ्रॉम द वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड. They don't look at this problem, they don't see this problem. And that was the aha moment for me. I was like, they don't see this as a problem. That means there is an opportunity here. The opportunity is big enough. The pain is big enough. Mesem, why don't you try and solve this? And I'm like, sure. In fact, my wife asked me, Mesem, do you know how to solve it? And I'm like, yes, I think I know how to solve it. And that was the motivation for me. That was the obsession for me. I really locked myself for like weeks on the weekends. And by the way, I was doing my full-time job as a banker, as an executive director, while I was thinking about this, while I was planning this. All my weekends, all my chutiyan, all my evenings, शाम में 6 बजे से लेके रात तक, I used to work and think and create this with the team of separate people. That is when I got obsessed about it, and I was like, I have to solve this problem.
Wonderful, sir. It's really wonderful, and your way of thinking is very unique. So that's why you found it, because many people are just, yesterday I saw a post on Facebook that people are following the crowd. I saw, there were some cars, going on the same path, but then at that time, a car moved to another path. That was a single car who moved to a different path. So, like, it defines that we have to sometimes we have to try new things, sometimes, because it works, as you did. We are not consistent with our work. You were consistent, that's why you still are very successful in your organization, in your company. Consistency is also another key. So, Mr. Messam, could you tell us what was the most and what is the most challenging part in your career till now you have faced?
Challenging part. Okay, so I mean, there are two big careers, right? One was in the bank, and one is in the startup. I'll talk about the recent ones because they're fresh in my mind. Um, the the two three big things that are extremely challenging. Number one is finding the right team. I would say, right? Because people who would come and work for you when you only have an idea, so that is extremely difficult. Even when you find a few people, you start working with them, things may not materialize and you may have to decide whether you can work with them or not. So I think the number one thing is people. The second biggest challenge that I faced in the past, but I think we have overcome that now, is this whole idea about you have a great idea, but how do you fund it? How do you get the money to do it, right? So let me, and in fact, on Monday, I'm actually doing a post about this as well. So you guys can actually hear a much more detailed video that I've done. Uh, but in a nutshell, I started raising money in 2023 and actually raised $0. Zero. And, it's because I was just pitching to everybody. And in 2024, I was able to raise more than $500,000 just 1 year later. So, what's the difference? It's the same me, same idea. The only big difference was the why. I started talking about the why instead of the what. So I stopped talking about what I'm building or what I have built. I started talking about the why. The why is important. The why means, why am I solving this problem? Because I want to solve global mobility. Why? Because half of the population of the world struggles with visa processing, and the list goes on. So that's the other big challenge that we had. Um, the other challenges that we constantly kept facing were, oh, will somebody use the platform? Initially we had these concerns, but we have immense amount of demand right now, to use the platform. In fact, we have a very different problem. Our technology is still being built because we had to keep building. There's more demand than supply. So that has become less of a problem. So I think I would definitely talk about two big challenges. The first one, as I mentioned, finding the right people, getting them to come and work for you, जो अपनी जान दे. ठीक है, जब आप स्टार्टअप के लिए काम करते हैं ना, तो वो 9 to 5 वाली नौकरी नहीं होती. वो दिन हो या रात हो या इवन आप सो रहे हो. मैं अपने लोगों को कहता हूँ, टीम को कहता हूँ और सबको कहता हूँ, मैं एक्चुअली 24 घंटे काम करता हूँ. जब मैं सो रहा होता हूँ तो मुझे ख्वाब में भी प्रोपेलस आ रहा होता है, लिटरली. ठीक है ना? अगर तो आपके अंदर वो पैशन और ऑब्सेशन है कि आपने ये प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करना है, आप प्रॉब्लम के लिए आए हैं, मिशन के लिए आए हैं, तो आप स्टार्टअप के लिए काम करें और ऐसे स्टार्टअप के लिए काम करें जिसका एक मिशन है. अगर आप नौकरी के लिए कर रहे हैं, पैसे के लिए कर रहे हैं, तो शायद startups are probably the wrong. And finding the right balance of those people is problem number one. The number two problem was, earlier the problem fundraising. हम सब समझते हैं यार, पैसा कहाँ से आएगा, कौन हमें फंड करेगा. मेरी लर्निंग ये है कि अगर if you have the right idea, if you have the right passion, if you've thought through it, and if you keep trying, कोई प्रॉब्लम जो ऐसा नहीं है जो सॉल्व नहीं हो सकता, हो जाएगा. एंड सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट मैसेज जो मैं आप लोगों को सबको दूंगा, स्पेशली यंग लिसनर्स को, डोंट एवर बी अफ्रेड ऑफ फेलिंग. हम समझते हैं कि फेलियर जो है वो बुरी चीज़ है. मेरी लाइफ की जो लर्निंग है वो ये है, फेलियर बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है. फेल होना चाहिए. फेलियर आपको सिखाता है, सक्सेस नहीं सिखाता. Failure teaches you many things. Success doesn't teach you that. So I encourage you guys to try to fail. My life's mission is, if you know, I have a very comfortable life in Singapore. You know, I was very happy. I was making a lot of money. Today, I make $0. I don't pay myself anything. I make zero right now because we're still in pre-revenue. We're still in the next few months we'll get to revenue. But even though I don't make any money, I'm actually far more happier because I'm actually solving a real life problem. So that's the challenging part on my company side currently. I'll take a quick pause to see if you have any questions and then we can talk more.
Exactly. That's what is it all, it is all about. That आफ्टर बीइंग सक्सेसफुल, हम ज़्यादातर जो है मगरूर हो जाते हैं तकब्बुर में भी लोग आ जाते हैं अक्सर कि भाई अब तो सक्सेस हो गई, अब मतलब फिर हमारा माइंडसेट भी ऐसा चला जाता है कि बिल्कुल फिक्स माइंडसेट पर आ जाते हैं। और फेलियर जो है वो हमें ग्रोथ माइंडसेट, और एक और चीज़ कि जो हमारा एजुकेशन यहाँ पे सिस्टम है, they all teaches us that failure is a bad thing. They teach us, whenever we fail in any exam, whenever we fail in any test, they beat us, they like shout us, they all whatever, and we even face criticism, from our home as well. So our education system, especially in Pakistan, we have to work on it as well more. As Sir Rehan is working, and Mr. Mehsum, it was really my pleasure talking to you. You know, I'm very grateful that you gave me a precious time for this. Finally, we were in the contact, and I was doing follow up, and uh, but I'm very grateful that you finally gave me a precious time for this.
No, it was my pleasure and my honor. I'm really glad that we did this, and Fahad and Rehan and the rest of you guys are doing a fantastic job. Please keep up the good work. I'm extremely proud of what you did. I was sharing with my children, that I'm going to speak to, a young man who's, I think you're 15 years old, who's doing this amazing podcast. So please keep up the good work, keep inspiring other kids, and keep inspiring me. Wonderful to talk to you.
Exactly. Thank you so much. You're the first one who guessed my age correctly. Whenever I do with Americans, they think maybe I'm, you know, 20 plus. So thank you so much. Inshallah, meet you soon with